You might ask yourself the reason why I would do such a video. While my story comes from way, way, way back. After I completed my primary school, I traveled back home. And in this moment, I became relaxed. I was still a teenager. I was so relaxed at home that I didn't even notice the tiny, tiny details changing in my body. I was enjoying the company of my parents, all my parents. I was enjoying the company of food, some that I didn't get to experience where I was previously. And I was enjoying the comfort of being at home, security, safety, having people around you, people to just talk to. It wasn't until one of my brothers came to visit back at home. And I remember running to him, going to greet him, full of pure happiness. And I didn't even notice that my body had gained, that I had gained a lot of weight. So my brother looked at me with the utmost surprise. He was surprised because the last time he saw me, I was quite small. And he asked me a very funny question. He actually asked if I had taken some baking powder, if I was eating baking powder the whole time I was at home. Until those words were said, it's when I went back home and looked at myself in the mirror and I was surprised. It's actually funny that I didn't look at myself in the mirror all this time. So I had gained a whole lot of weight, a whole lot of weight. Looking back, I think I looked like a totally different person. If you had met me previously while in primary and at that moment before I joined high school, I looked like two completely different people. And that's when my whole world changed. So I went and joined high school. And in this period of 4 years, I can honestly say a large percentage of it was torture. A bigger percentage of it was torture because I faced a lot of bullying. I was bullied on every single thing I did, whether it was walking, whether it was laughing, whether it was even smiling or even laughing. It was a tough period. It was a tough 4-year period. At some point, I even wanted to run away from school. It was too much because of my weight. I remember this one time, I even wrote a letter back at home to my dad, and I was telling him, I'm tired of being here. I don't want to be here anymore. If you cannot change schools, if you cannot remove me from this school, then I will leave and you will not see me again. That was how much intense it was. And while writing those words, I was crying. That letter, while I was sending it, was filled with dried tears on that letter because of the intense bullying I was experiencing. At another time, just some random ladies in school, they decided to make a mockery of me publicly in front of every person. And while these things may seem small now that I'm saying them, back then they were quite large. Bear in mind, this is the mind of a teenager trying to figure out her body, trying to accept herself how she is, trying to adjust to the change of environment from being from the city back to rural home, going to that school, finding everyone different. A lot of things were different for me. I was trying to adjust on so many things. And even for those teenagers who have not really had to adjust on such things, small words such as your body image, how you look like, how you talk, how you walk, how you even eat, they really matter. The things both the teachers say and what the students say, they really have a big impact on the life of a teenager. So after being publicly ashamed because of how my body looked, I remember going to the dormitory and I just sat and I thought how pathetic this life is for me. How sad this life is for me. How did I get here? How did I even get to be this big? I had a lot of questions in my mind and I couldn't even find the right answer. All of them were pointing to me and I couldn't even tell at what point I gained weight. That was what was frustrating me the most. So I devised a plan. I told myself I will go to the kitchen area, steal a knife. I didn't even know how I was going to do this, but I was determined. And bear in mind, with determination, you can achieve anything. So I knew I was going to do this. I was going to steal a knife, and I told myself I was going to cut my love handles. Yeah, it was that bad. And then I thought, when I cut my love handles, I'll have a very big scar or open wound. Funny enough, this was okay to me. I told myself, in as much as I would have the open wound, it would heal. And at the end of the day, I would have a scar. And I was comfortable having that scar than having those love handles. I hated my body. And in that evening, as I was leaving, I met one of my friends. Just along the way, I think she was God sent. And I told her because I was crying. I told her what I was going to do, and she talked to me. She talked to me about my body, about loving myself, about learning how to love myself. We talked a great deal, and I decided not to go forward with the plan. So if I had not met my friend, who knows what I would have done? I was in such a low moment. Fast forward after that, I faced a large other couple of bullying, but I was better able to take them in. I convinced myself this is for a short period and it will end. I couldn't wait to finish high school. To think that it would end there, after completion, after I'd gone to college, I still faced the same thing, not to the high extent of high school, but I still faced bullying. I never realized that the one thing I really needed to do was just to love myself and accept myself the way I am. Accept that I had found myself in that situation and that was okay. That I just needed to work on my body one day at a time and not to rush things. Accept that I was beautiful the way I was. And to see around and notice that there are so many people who love me the way I am. My weight and me not accepting myself back then affected a large number of my relationships with both my friends and even the relationships that I hoped they would bear fruits and grow bigger. It affected all those relationships because I was always waiting to get approval. I was always waiting for them to tell me that I look beautiful. I was always waiting for them to tell me that I look okay and I don't have to be worried. While all this time, all I needed was for me to tell myself that I look okay, that I am enough, that I am worthy. And so after completion, after a long, long journey, I won't really say how long, but it was quite long. After a long journey and a lot of ups and downs, going round trying to figure out what this life has in hold for me and what it really wants from me. And after realizing that everything is inside of me, I decided to focus on me. I decided to go on a journey. Before, I have made this decision before so many times. I have started, but I always quit. I start and I fail to finish. And this still goes on to add to the negative and bad feeling and the negative talk that I would give myself every time I started something and I didn't finish. I believe most of us have been there and we understand. In different journeys of life, when you commit yourself to start and you don't finish, there is the negative talk you give yourself. And the worst part is it keeps getting you back to square one, to where you started. So I made a conscious decision this time that I would feel my life as authentic as it is, as true as it is. And I would tell myself every day of how beautiful I am, how deserving I am, and how great I am. And I would remind myself that I could achieve so many different things. I can, if only I set my mind straight to it. And so, with that in mind, I decided to start my self-awareness journey, my intentionally authentic journey, my mindfulness journey. And in mindfulness, it does not just mean working out and talking to myself. It involves every single thing that I do in my life, even the slightest, the tiniest that don't seem to make sense. I decided that I will be mindful in how I talk. I will be mindful in what I eat. I will be mindful with the people that I allow close to me and in my life. I will be mindful of the places that I go and visit. I will be mindful of how I talk to people around me. I will be mindful of what I put on. I will be mindful of every tiniest detail in my life. This has helped me transitioning from the unhealthy eating habits to eating mindfully has helped me a great deal. And as such, I started this channel so that I can also encourage you. Be mindful of every single thing that you do in your life and start small, one step at a time. It's okay to start, regardless of where you're starting from and at what point you're starting. It's okay to start. It is your journey, you decide. You don't have to be perfect while you're starting. Few people are perfect in what they start in. The most important thing is consistency and you showing up for yourself. And so I made the conscious decision to show up for myself in every aspect of my life. I will show up for myself. In even talking, I will show up for myself if need be. Because it starts from within then people get to experience the without, the outside. I hope in one way or another this has impacted you.